The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does so, she quietly hums to herself. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaritan children's song. Surrender to the night.
That's kind of grim for a children's song, even if it is a lullaby.
Yes, it does. Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church.
She's not telling you all she knows. Keep her talking.
Well, there's that music from across the sea. It started a few days ago, and now it's blasting even through the night. And now, suspicious-looking people are sneaking around the church. I don't like that.
Interesting. You could look into this ruckus if you have the time.
Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place, back when I was young, and so was everyone else. Now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Quite a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double. What do you want with a lost jacket?
That's an excellent question, ma'am.
He probably pawned it for booze and then forgot about it. You know how drunk men are? Are you getting a reward for it at least? What? You're fetching someone's missing laundry free of charge? Do you not have anything better to do?
In fact, he does.
None of my business, either way. How you spend your hours is up to you. Anyhow, you might ask Lillian if she's seen anything lately. That girl's got a way of attracting lost and broken things.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. No one wants to talk about how frightened they are. But only frightened people are really dangerous. And plenty of them are dangerous. No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. It would put me in an early grave. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone. To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better, drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snowmen. 2 odd guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. Right. Not only snowmen, also green men, monkey men burning rhinos. You get the picture.
Oh, you're getting it. And it is gorgeous.
I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Remarkable. That one already lost everything else, and now his jacket too. It's a good thing, too, that he has an actual police officer looking for it. Good old doom spiral, upper management to the core.
That's odd. Is she actually impressed?
How sweet of you. It really is. I check around the abandoned fish market on the boardwalk. Drunks are inexplicably drawn to markets. Might be why they have such trouble staying in business.
A phenomenon that the spectral hand theory of the market fails to account for.
If one of them lost something, that's as good a place to start looking as any. Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already. Very unattractive bunch.
Yeah, maybe steer clear of the things reminding her of the floater she used to be married to. Just saying.
Sure is. The sun, I call her. Coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Aye. Sunny days. You got a problem with that?
No, ma'am. We have no quarrel with sunny days.
Good. It would have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff, bad news for the nets, bad news for the kids.
There's a moment's silence. She looks at the slushy snow melt on the yellow belly of the boat.
In time, when the sea turns and the winds settle, she will be ready.
Waves wash the sand. A skiff moves across the mirror-smooth sea, far away from here. A lone passenger, a fast sloop in the distance. White sails. My prediction, it will be at least 2 days. Winter, slow to let go of Revachol, flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. It has been a cold year. All things waiting for spring will have to wait a bit longer. Looking up at the sky, melted snow dripping from your hat. The sky is full of great battleships. White clouds collide with one another, and the world is drenched with their debris. The melting snow seeps through your thin clothes. Grandmothers don't let their grandchildren out dressed so lightly in this weather. At least your hair is protected from getting wet and sticking together. You look around. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings, crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles, grey and red forgotten city blocks, what remains of the pre-revolutionary effort to gentrify the coast. The waters turn black, coal city in the shadow of San Martin, a boom town. Back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Esperance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet. Below the old mines, L'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery. Le Petit Rat braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume, where the Philippian kings were interred with their doctors and their admirals. Mausoleums, burial chambers, leaf gold still remains on the double door of the morning. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper. After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the suzerain. In the burial chambers of the kings, Grand Old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. How can it be pure if it's magenta? After rubies, melchiorite, lapis 2 kilometers, the mausoleum. How can it be pure if it's snow falls and there is no answer? Some things are not for mortals to know. Few petits rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds. Like all monuments, it's also a warning. 6-story ruins on the south side of the roundabout cast a long shadow over the profligate king. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret. The abandoned church, one of 2 remaining stave churches, which were collectively called Les Sept Sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the revolution. A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul. The remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab scuttles among the debris, looking for a new shell. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection. Way beyond Martinez, a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air brinier than here. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos, wild pines, Zam, Morian, and at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder. The raised motorway, 881, separating Martinez from Jamrock. Vehicles whoosh past one another day and night, while those who reside in the labyrinthine alleyways beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox. Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. The stairs descend to central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe eating it will make them immune to food poisoning. Snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine, and also on the brothels and drug dens and the chop shops of the Zemlyaki. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, there is a little ship. There are lights at the bottom of its hull. They are lights directed toward the seafloor, looking for something, like whiskers. A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Coalition aerostatics hang like apparition under the cloud cover. Occasionally, lights flash as they maneuver through the falling snow. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it. But who knows?
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up?
scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense, meaning this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire, something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the crack. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. Snowflakes fall on the wooden planks and the surrounding sand dunes, covering the land with the white of innocence. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every one of them. Collateral damage on the path toward normalcy and progress. Such is your belief, officer. Maybe you should change it. They were praying, screaming. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolutionaries.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures. row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall, with another 7 shades standing a cold. That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. You don't have a reason to. Yet, nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Oh no, it's all right. I'm just busy. Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid. A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoology's career. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species. I have to resist the thought such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part?
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to say
Not a big fan of skepticism.
they'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. Yes, what? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down. Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, there are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula. by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we sit in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it?
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Wise choice.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions,
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
I've just always liked animals.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider... No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the fair...
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's prime. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, 2 are categorised as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery. Yes, the Chateauquin forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful,
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him.
yes? All right.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena. or his friend Gary, he won't just talk.
By all means.
Hello, I'm Gary. Yellow Man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature.
Degenerates, this man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage, pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
I've been tempted on occasion, but someone has to stay strong for Revacol.
He pronounces Revacol with a hard K, unlike other people.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way.
The stupid way. He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary.
He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
No. I helped Morel with...
After all this time with Morel, he must have an opinion on cryptids. This could lead to a good...
Oh, yes. The burning rhino. Morel doubts he's real, but a rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, at least the males do. They have special ducts just above their shoulder blades that secrete a combustible fluid. When the rhino is just beginning to light itself, it looks as though it has wings of fire.
But how is this combustible fluid lit?
The rhino starts running very fast to build heat, then stops, raises its head, and sparks fly from its neck, setting its back ablaze. Yeah, well, Revacol used to be a flaming rhino once, a long time ago.
Super solid argument, Gary. Can't argue with that.
The flames are not just for decoration. They are an integral part of the beast's mating mix. During the burning rhino's mating season, herds of male rhinos, all aflame, encircle herds of female rhinos. Local peasants call it the passion ring. They fear the rhinos.
The lieutenant sighs, without looking up. It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels. Some even...
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. No problem at all.
door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea.
I'll be sleeping in my room in the whirling. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Waves crash onto the beach, drowning the reeds. Far to the south, a congregation gathers to a soup kitchen in a shelter for the homeless. An old woman gives out knitted scarves for free. This could have been you. This could still be you. A down-on-his-luck nobody trying to survive. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Look under the floorboards.
On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. On the table, you see a bowl of water. Like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman, you use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the nose line. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. You almost look like a professional. Your face, such as it is, a regular human face. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
embodied in you forever on Faraday.
No, you're spinning tapes at the discotheque. The great unceasing disco of the mind. The flash, the bang, the endless learning experience. On and on it goes, for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
All stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent, picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the working class. For the money, baby. For the greater good.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth. There he goes again. He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
Do it for the wind. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. One conversation at a time. Good. You're up. Listen, there's something that's been bothering you for a few days now. It's a suspicion, or a feeling really, that things are not quite in hand around here. An earth-shattering deduction from your psyche. What will those guys come up with next? Every day, things seem to spin more and more wildly out of control. the center isn't holding. And despite your efforts to moderate and contain these energies, things only seem to be getting worse. Oh sure, you've been making progress on your case, interviewing people, solving side tasks, but who's focusing on the big questions? You've got to find out who bears la responsabilité. Harry, you're thinking about this too narrowly. La responsabilité isn't concerned with trivial questions like who killed who. It's about the real issues, the human welfare index, the price of staple goods, the transition to real democracy. Whoa. This isn't some kind of dictatorship. You can't simply seize la responsabilité for yourself. It must be given by a legitimate authority, like a committee. There is always time to follow best practices. Once someone's decided to cut corners for the sake of expediency, who knows what else they're capable of? Swift, decisive action. Only the most even-keeled minds in Martinez, your half-brother, the lieutenant, is a natural place to start. Together, you'll be able to discover who has la responsabilité in Revachol. And, if necessary, you'll have the wisdom and expertise to assign it among yourselves. Most likely, your findings will be collected in a report, which will be carefully reviewed by your superiors. Once they've reviewed it, those same superiors will produce a set of recommendations to be taken up at the next meeting of the Standing Committee. Rest assured, no matter what happens, it will be done through the proper channels. Good luck. Your report is eagerly anticipated. On the table, you see a
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps, I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the... Either way, good on you. You were saying? I'm glad to hear it, Detective. I was wondering when we'd get to this very subject. If you ask me, it's high time for you to put the bottle away. Sober up, get back to basics. That would be my advice. Why are you pronouncing it like that gentleman from the Institute of Price Stabilité? You know what? Forget it. What specifically are you trying to assign responsibility for? Now I understand. Next, I suppose you're going to tell me you need to form a committee to assign this responsibility? Simple. Because moral intern types love to form committees. In any event, I am just a humble law official. I may work under the moral intern's umbrella, but I'm certainly not qualified to serve on any committee. You know who might be, though? That Mr. Villedroit, the gentleman you met in the young man's apartment. If I were trying to get in touch with the coalition, I would start by seeking him out. But first you might need to speak with his young companion. Now, was there anything else?
scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer.
You're bad with kids. Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
Hello, mister.
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were going to take them. They're stupid.
We are going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. They look identical. It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you make up for the skewer you broke.
Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry. It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Yes. Very soft.
Press your damn cheek against Lammy, okay?
Isn't he soft? Bye!
Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network. The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front. Yes?
As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could knock anyone out with one punch. The white ceramic gloves wrap around your digits comfortably. The hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and voluptuous, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. Two, are you sure you're correct there? There was a helmet too. 3 pieces more like. You were ambitious.
Yes?
What if you did it? Yes, you killed him. And then, as part of the plan, you drowned out the memory. Maybe this is why your chest feels so hollow. You did an awful thing. And you can't even bring yourself to acknowledge it. Are you sure you would have the strength to take down a hardened mercenary? You're not in the best shape.
And what has led you to this conclusion? That is a common side effect of overindulgence. It will pass. Besides, I doubt you could have taken down a hardened mercenary single-handedly.
See? You're clearly not a man in your prime anymore.
Don't take it personally. It's just that security guards kept on by large corporations tend to be better trained and better armed than officers of the RCI. The victim wasn't run over by a drunk driver. So, while I can't condone your driving habits, the cases remain unrelated. Look, it's not unusual for detectives to feel complicit in a crime until the perpetrator is identified and apprehended, especially when the investigation is dragging. So, let's get back to it, shall we?
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why? Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D? It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet. Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Tape computers. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinaise was nothing but reeds before Veld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album Bom Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention. Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The Veld playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Veld Playback Experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Oh no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms. I'm just spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions.
Not that he would have to worry about being robbed. He looks surprisingly buff. Does he work out?
I do some Lomantang stick fighting now and then.
Lo Mantang stick fighting is a form of martial arts originating from the island of Lo Mantang. It uses slender wooden sticks for confronting the opponent.
Actually, a great many cultures have their own version of stick fighting, such as the sacred Mabolo tradition of the Harley people, a name deriving from the butterfruit tree traditionally used for crafting the long, slender sticks, whereas the sticks used in other cultures...
You doze off as he paints you a comprehensive picture of the history of stick fighting among mankind, seasoning it with unexpected pop culture references. Man, he's good at speaking. People must love him.
But anyway, I'm boring you with details again. You were saying? Then I guess everything got said, right? The drizzle, it never seems to stop, does it? No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikael here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this? End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre? Is that you, Pierre? Do you have any news about here? He's my sister's grandson. He used to visit me as a lad. Fine young man. But who are you, then? A salesman of some sort? Modern goods are rubbish, and I can't afford them anyhow. It's a shame what you did to our country. This is because we are bred to be leaders. I can hear the common or mixed background from your voice. I just so wanted it to be Pierre. Have a pleasant evening, prankster.
Disconnect tone. Calling. Still calling. Again? Seriously? Someone with a masculine voice picks up.
Hello, Gerard speaking.
Hello, Gerard. Technically speaking, you're electricity. No, what you are is a surprise. Get his wife on the phone.
Who the fuck do you think you are talking to me like that? Very funny, asshole. Why don't you grow up? Oh, and Disco is dead.
Phone hanging up. Disconnect tone. Calling, calling, calling. Still.
Stop calling me, man. I'll get you your money, alright? I just need till tonight. Let me work.
The phone gets hanged up fast as lightning. All you hear is a disconnect tone. Calling.
I'm tired. Writing. I hate writing so much. But I have to get back to it.
The man disappears with a sigh. You do not hear the customary disconnect tone, just silence in the handset. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. This sometimes happens. Lucky you, the call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying. You close your eyes and put your index finger on the rotary dial, then pull down on the number, then move one up. And strange, this is not how you started before. 414447. The rotary dial feels 1117361. Your fingers keep moving like a spider every time the ring rotates back with a little ring of metal. Yes, 451-67451. You are going deeper now, into some unknown place. 451. You have dialed God knows how many numbers. The headset has been waiting silently to relay a signal. Surely nothing can come of this. An ultra-long distance call. Your ear fills with a crackle, the wash of a strange ocean full of white noise. A little bird starts ringing in there, not like the local calling tone before. No, a small ring in a cage of distortion. Far away, a distant network of phones, calling in the night. The saddest sound in the world. Calling still. The handset starts slipping from your sweaty palm. Your breathing is heavy. The lieutenant is too far away to hear your yelp. The sea wind blows. You can't. Some strange force is keeping the headset glued to your hand. Your ear listening to the ring in the speaker. Calling. Then the ocean breaks. Out of the depths, a woman's voice emerges. Small. The dearest thing you've ever heard.
Hello? Who is this? Dora, who is this? The connection is bad.
Dora. The name feels like a gift. A gift that was meant for you, to make it possible to live.
No. It's you, isn't it? It's you. You're not ominous, Harry. You're drunk.
You only have 2, maybe 3 things left to say before the change runs out.
Oh, God.
Do you know what time it is? It's so late here. It's 4 o'clock, Harry. I need to wake up in 2 hours. I'm in Morova, sleeping.
She does not answer anymore.
Harry.
Disconnect tone. The machine ran out of money. You dial the number again. 26 pulls of the rotary dial. The machine eats the coin, and a terrifying ocean of distance rustles in your ear. In the middle of it, a familiar ring. Small, distorted, calling, calling. Calling, 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 calling. It looks like she doesn't want to pick it up, Harry. Stop scaring her. Come on, you know why. The headset lands in the cradle with a clank. Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have it returned.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. The smell. It's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is, he's been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
True. It feels disrespectful. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario, even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
This is an omen, a sign from above that you need to stop drinking.
Well, at least you're not married.
Or, what if you are?
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No,
Agreed. If this somehow converges later.
Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, but I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work. Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55 211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh. The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. Snow specks the stalks. Most of it melts quickly. The reeds seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. I meant no offense, just...
More than twice your height stands shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. Nothing happens.
I don't think that's going to work.
High above, the wind wraps the church in its rush, cold and wet from the ocean bay. It parts around the massive keel-shaped roof, like a test tunnel washing both sides, the way it has done for 340 years. The wind keeps its distance. So should you.
There is a hole in my heart.
The lieutenant looks at the padlock. He didn't hear you asking. You were quiet enough. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. 2 large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. You see a yellow circle with 2 X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. It's the contrast between the cheery, chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. The work has been done recently and is unprofessional. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off.
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment.
There is a touch of guilt in his voice.
Can you hear the pulsing bass underneath the wind? A sure sign of junior delinquency, somewhere east of here.
There's something on the sea ice there. Your hands are clammy from the sea air. The piece of sticker keeps slipping away. The lieutenant hands you a blue handkerchief. He looks a little dismayed when he gets it back crumpled. However, it should be easier to peel the sticker off now. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out. Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
go speak to Andre. I'm just annoyed. I suck at socialising, man. If you go speak to Andre, I'll have time to tune in, get a reading on your sign.
The young man picks up a thin metal saw blade and nods. A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret,
Hardcore! It's hardcore! Skibbity, skibberdanger. I am the rearranger.
could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think? You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic, yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic, like this guy. His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads!
Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that. In Revachol.
Strike that! The world!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge. Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man.
Andre is obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Yes, I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation. I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while. Of course, not all right.
It's as if time is frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool. Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eye orb. In the looking ball, a stabbing pain. Tears stream uncontrollably from your right.
Man, I'm super sorry. That was totally my bad.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry he didn't throw them better.
I really am sorry, man. Just take this, okay?
Wow, looks like there's quite a lot there.
I hope that settles it. Or wait, the key?
He is shifting in his spot, uncomfortably.
We were talking about the padlock, I think. Not long, like a week maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives. I don't know. What does anything mean, really?
Oh, yeah.
You're right. It is nonsense. Total garbage.
It feels good to be the smart cop, doesn't it? That's a good cop to be. Has a nice ring to it. Smart cop. You wouldn't want to be stupid cop, now would you? But still, maybe he's just sucking up to you.
Oh, okay. I won't do that anymore. Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses. Well, there's also the machinery.
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church a couple of times, and we felt someone or something eyeing us inside, but that's kinda it. Well, honestly, I can't, but I am.
This is a below feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers. Don't let all that technology fool you. Where do you think the drugs come from? Like, you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite you.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behavior.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures and not known for climbing walls.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there...
You should ask her about it, but be nice.
The implications of this are too numerous to consider. Proceed with caution. Learn all you can before entering that dark building. There probably is no crab man.
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely. Sure. What? He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies. Well, he's just kinda here. I don't really know how to communicate with him. Yeah, sometimes. When I stumble and find my way into his centre, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
The man smiles mysteriously. I get it. He's a puzzle.
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
You know, of Meteo, concerning Meteo. Meteo, a country on Muindi, on the Muindi Isla.
One of the poorest of the first world nations today, but once a great ancient civilization. Capital, Tilakos by Percentic.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, made the Innocentic system, no? You're totally wrong about that.
The Pericarnassian Church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance! Love is hardcore!
Unity! Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse!
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters. Feels good.
Your posse's like your people, man. Like you got your cub posse. You look out for each other and you party together.
And where is your posse, detective? Nothing comes to you. The world is silent.
Are we?
Yeah! Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Yes. What? Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water. Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of. He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
As always,
had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid? That's fine, man. But I've got to warn ya, our signs are still off. It'll take some time for me to get my sigh on. A sticker? You mean the yellow one?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
So I can hear you do it. Sometimes the outside gaze helps us reflect on things.
Noid, don't bother our guests with your games.
Piss off, Andre. Me and Mr. Cop are trying to discuss art.
You shouldn't talk like that.
Cool. The ban on foulness. That's the moralist plot to alienate us from our bodily functions. Anyhow, what was the sticker like? Seems like my creation has found its way into the legal bureaucracy. What did you want to ask about it? Simplicity was brought to us by classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss, haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing. It is. A dead guy smiling. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats.
He blinks, waiting for the next question.
I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for? I'm doing what I can.
It's not easy for him. It probably took him years to get used to Andre. He looks like a well-thought-out individual. The synchronization might be worth it in the long run.
Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked-up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
The People's Republic of Samara is a product of Revachel's sister revolution on the Grand Isola. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state.
I know, man. I was just talking about the aesthetic. Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it, though.
The sickest. That's perhaps why it should be researched.
Most of it doesn't exist. But there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist. Because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related disease. The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Nah. Still strongly out of sync. You heard me.
The young man with the tape recorder.
This is hardcore. Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega. Internally coherent.
Hardcore! All right!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
Is it though? But is it? I mean, really?
Feels like you should reply with the very pinnacle of idiocy here, so that things get totally transcendent. But you haven't gotten there yet, so you don't know what to say.
I am the mic enforcer. I am the chicks checker. Yeah!
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow, barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk. A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand.
Oh, hello there.
She must be Estelle, the last of the speed freaks posse. It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
That's my name. I take it you have met the others. Did they tell you about the church and the club thing? Will you help us? Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here. Huh? So should you. Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat. I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. Oh, that. You're not gonna believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still. And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me, right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on, she obviously could. She already went into detail.
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only made it scarier in a way.
A crab and a banger?
Yes, a banger, as in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw. Why? Nothing. Anyway, what else? My associates. I haven't got much to say about them. Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
To the cops.
Me? I'm a silver bird. Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but... This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Your mangled brain would like you to know there is a boxer called Contact Mike. No, you're welcome.
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble. Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium. Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck, or really be a Elysium going kind of person. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means either. That's cool. Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps? Yeah, I record stuff with it. No. This is a contact microphone. It's for recording inside solid objects. Contact mic just beats people up. Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. My boyfriend sold them. I don't know, man. Things.
A lie. They were probably pawned off for something suspicious.
The musicians in the Elysium used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device, the thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy.
Take this, you're called.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that.
It's okay.
Thanks. Yeah, the boys think it could be a place, like the Elysium or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Elysium, that's... Yeah, Andre and the guys, inside the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room. Didn't you see it yourself? It's mostly music stuff, like this tape recorder, but bigger. Yep, they were pretty. I'm sorry we sold those. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter, I can take the cold. Go ahead. It's supposed to become, like, a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Elysium. Except that, yeah.
The floorboards are twisting, and the shooting beams are slowly cracking, like bones, far east of the Golden Delta, beyond the industrial port. There is a black patch of unlit coast with the smallest creatures on the ice. There will never be a club for anodic music here, not in a million years.
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. Synthesizers and tape consoles, microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Yeah, of course. Go ahead. Okay.